Hello everybody.
Let's begin fourth unit. This unit is titled as Live and Let Live. Okay, you all know what is the idea of this title. We all want to live here peacefully. We all want to have a situation for leading a healthy, peaceful life. Okay, for this we all are working. We all are doing number of activities, right? So the ultimate purpose of all these activities to have a situation for leading a good life, right? Have you ever thought of this any time? See, we all want to create a situation for leading a peaceful, happy life here. It is not only for ours. We all want to ensure people around us, all the living things around us, right, all others are living happily. We have to create a situation for that also. We have to ensure such a situation. Often we have heard that there are some activities or problems which disturb or disrupt these types of situations. Okay, so these problems may be out of the activities or handiworks of people, right? So because of some activities done by people, this normal situation or peaceful situation of life that is lost. So in this unit we are going to read some lessons. All these lessons basically give these values. We have to consider everything important. We have to protect the world around us. We have to do activities which ensure, which make others live happily, which gives happiness to ourselves as well as to others. Then only we can ensure or we can dream a good society. In this way, we can begin this unit just having an introspection. We have to ask to ourselves, are we bothered about all these issues? Are we prepared ourselves to protect the world around us? If so, what are we doing for protecting this world around us? Such a way we have to think first, right? Anyway, first lesson in this unit is a speech delivered by Wangari Maathai. Sometimes you have heard about this personality, a Nobel laureate. See, while accepting this Nobel Prize, she did a speech, and this speech here we are going to read. You have to listen this speech well, and you have to follow what the speaker is trying to communicate us, and what are the issues she tries to arise here. From the beginning to the end, you have to attend her words very carefully so that these types of situations we can familiarize with. Right. Anyway, how does she begin her speech? Before we start reading this speech given in our textbook, let me give you her own speech and listen her words first. Right. After listening this, you have to read the text from first to last, and then we have to answer questions given in our textbook. After you answered all these, yes, that is enough, because in our examinations there are some questions related to preserving natural resources or the importance of protecting these resources. So, or sometimes hazards or problems that come towards nature. So any topic related to nature or preserving natural resources, these types of presentation, okay, her views, her main ideas that she pointed in her speech, that will be helpful for you. So let's listen her first.
Your Majesties, Your Royal Highness, honorable members of the Norwegian Nobel Committee, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I stand before you and the world, humbled by this recognition and uplifted by the honor of being the 2004 Nobel Peace Laureate. As the first African woman to receive this prize, I accept it on behalf of the people of Kenya and Africa, and indeed the whole world. Tree planting became a natural choice to address some of the initial basic needs identified by women. Also, tree planting is simple, attainable, and guarantees quick, successful results within a reasonable amount of time. These are all important to sustain interest and commitment. So together we planted over 30 million trees that provide fuel, food, shelter, and income to support the children's and education and household needs. The activity also creates employment and improves soils and watersheds. Through their involvement, women gain some degree of power over their lives, especially their social and economic position and relevance in the family. This work continues. Initially, the work was difficult because historically our people have been persuaded to believe that because they are poor, they lack not only capital, but also knowledge and skills to address their challenges. Instead, they are conditioned to believe that their solutions to their problems must come from outside. Although initially the Greenbelt movement tree planting activities did not address issues of democracy and peace per se, it soon became clear that governance of the environment was impossible without democratic space. Therefore, the tree eventually became a symbol for the democratic struggle. Citizens were mobilized to challenge widespread abuses of power, corruption, and environmental mismanagement. In Nairobi's Uhuru Park, at Freedom Corner, and in many parts of the country, trees of peace were planted to demand the release of prisoners of conscience and a peaceful transition to democracy. Through the Greenbelt movement, thousands of ordinary citizens were mobilized and empowered to take action and effect change. They learned to overcome fear and a sense of hopelessness and moved to defend democratic rights. In time, the tree also became a symbol of peace and conflict resolution, especially during the ethnic clashes when the Greenbelt movement used peace trees to reconcile disputing communities. During the ongoing rewriting of the Constitution, Similar trees of peace have been planted in many parts of the country to promote a culture of peace. Using trees as a symbol of peace is in keeping with a widespread African tradition. For example, in my own community, the elders carried a staff from a tree called thegi. Whenever there were disputing sides, that staff was placed between them. And as soon as the elders placed that thegi or that staff between them, they stepped back, stopped fighting, and went to seek reconciliation. Many African communities have this heritage and tradition. Such practices are part of an extensive cultural heritage in Africa, which contributes both to the conservation of habitats and to cultures of peace. With the destruction of these cultures and the introduction of new values, local biodiversity is no longer valued and protected, and as a result, it quickly degenerates and disappears. For this reason, the Greenbelt movement explores the concept of cultural biodiversity, especially with respect to indigenous trees and medicinal plants. As we progressively understood the causes of environmental degradation, we saw the need for good governance. Indeed, the state of any country's environment is a reflection of the kind of governance in place, and without good governance, there can be no peace. Many countries which have poor governance systems are also likely to have conflicts and poor laws protecting the environment. In the year 2002, the courage, resilience, patience, and commitment of members of the Greenbelt movement, other civil society organizations, and the Kenyan public culminated in the peaceful transition to a democracy government and laid the foundation for a more stable society. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, it is 30 years since we started this work. Activities that devastate the environment and societies continue unabated. Today, we are faced with a challenge that calls for a shift in our thinking so that humanity stops threatening its life support system. We are called to assist the earth to heal her woods, and in the process, heal our own. Indeed, to embrace the whole creation in all its diversity, beauty, and wonder. This will happen if we see the need to revive our sense of belonging to a larger family of life, with which we have shared our evolutionary process. As I conclude, I reflect on my own childhood experience when I would visit a stream next to our home to fetch water for my mother. I would drink water straight from the stream because it was clean. Playing among the arrowroots, I tried in vain to pick up the strands of frogs' eggs, believing they were beads with which I could adorn myself. But every time I put my little fingers under these beads, they would break. Later, I saw thousands of tadpoles, black, energetic, and wiggling through the clear water against the background of the brown earth. This is the world I inherited from my mother. Today, 50 years later, my stream has dried up. Women walk longer distances to fetch water, which is not always clean. And children may never play with the tadpoles and the frog eggs, and they may never know what they lost. The challenge, as I stand here today, is to restore this home for the tadpoles and give back to the children